Well, hello and good evening to you. Welcome. This is Ghana Tonight. We are live from a news hub at this hour. Also live on TV3 Ghana on Facebook. There's a page channel 279. We're all across the world on 3news.com. I am Alfred Okanse. Tonight, President Akufo-Addo says he is committed to the fight against galamsey and challenges former President and the flag bearer of the NDC, John Mahama, to state his stance on illegal mining. Well, this has generated some conversation plus the latest on what is happening on the Birim River. We'll tell you 4 days after the military left that river, the galamseyers are back in action. Well, a new patriotic party here on your election command center in Parliament is at the Supreme Court seeking an interpretation to Article 97(1)(d) and also to restrain the Speaker from declaring vacant the seats of members of Parliament who have filed to contest as independent candidates and an independent candidate seeking to contest on the ticket of the MPP. Stay with us. And we assess the ongoing online exhibition of the Provisional Voters Register and also get updates from the Inter-Party Advisory Committee meeting held earlier today on the same matter and other issues that came up here. As always, we have manifesto check as well, and on your election command center. Some 52 days to election day, December 7, will remain your election command center. Let's settle for Ghana Briefs.
The Ghana Police Service has arrested Bishop Salifu Amwakon and Muha Amwakon, parents of the suspect driver involved in the fatal accident that claimed 2 lives at East Legon on Saturday, October 12. They are currently in custody, assisting with investigations. According to the police, investigations have so far established that on October 12, Elrad driving a Jaguar SUV with 1 other occupant rammed into a 4x4 Acura driven by Joseph Aka with 4 other occupants at Mensa Wood Street at Isilegon. Both cars caught fire, burning beyond recognition. 3 of the 5 victims in the Acura were rescued, and the other 2, identified as Justin Agbenu and Mame Jomo, both 12 years, lost their lives. 2 of the rescued victims who sustained minor injuries were treated and discharged, while the 3rd is still on admission receiving medical attention. The suspect driver and the other occupants in the Jaguar vehicle are currently on admission at the hospital. The peaceful town of Budumburam was shattered in seconds as a routine rock blast turned into a nightmare. Rocks fell from the sky like hailstones, leaving a trail of destruction and heartbreak. 3 lives were lost instantly and many more got injured. My husband and the baby were sleeping when we heard a noise like stones. Some fell on the baby's leg and head.
Then I saw the stones coming, so I went and hid myself at the corner there. So after the stones finished coming, I was coming out to see what's happened, and then the 1 stone hit at my back and I fell.
I was sleeping in the corridor when I heard the noise and decided to wake up. Unfortunately, I met a stone that hit my head.
The 2 sides of Parliament was thrown into spirited arguments for and against the motion filed by MP for Tamale South, Haruna Idrisu, asking the Speaker of the House to declare 4 seats vacant following the decision of the 4 MPs to contest the next elections as independent candidates. Referencing Article 97(1)(g) of the Constitution, Haruna Idrisu noted that the 4 MPs have made their intentions clear not to remain with their political parties on which they came to Parliament. MPs from both sides took turns to articulate why they believe the Speaker should declare the seats vacant or otherwise.
It has come to our notice that the Honorable Peter Kwache Aka, the current NDC member for Memphis Central in the Western region, has filed with the Electoral Commission to...
Haruna Idrisu petition, if you look at it, it means that you are supposed to refer the petition to petitions committee. What they are doing, they just want a short circuit. And that is what Honorable Atuforsen is trying to do.
When you decide to make a statement, after people will comment, that's what you are doing. When we finish commenting, if the speaker thinks that the comments are such as to raise a serious issue, you refer the matter to a committee.
Who would look at the facts? The Supreme Court. So if you want the speaker to give a decision in a vacuum, and I heard somebody say, when the speaker is informed. The speaker is informed about what? What has happened? What is the information about? It is the pleasure of somebody.
More than 28,000 members of the Public Services Workers Union are to withdraw their services on October 21. The strike will affect operations of the Electoral Commission, the Statistical Service and the National Commission of Civic Education, NCCEA. General Secretary of the Public Services Workers Union, PSWU, Bernard Eji, says the union is demanding the payment of their allowances on the single-spine salary structure.
All admitted since 2022 April that the single spine is no longer serving its purpose. We should review it to bring it back on track. And we are not doing that. Over 2 years down the line. Then what are we saying? Some people should be benefiting at the expense of others. It is not right.
The Black Stars still have just 2 points from a possible 12 after suffering a 2-0 defeat against Sudan in Libya earlier on Tuesday, casting their AFCON chances in doubt.
We've always known that the team has not been a situation where they are playing like a team. You know, it's more of individual brilliance. It's simply difficult also because the time factor. They come here for a week or whatever, and then they go back. So it's a very difficult situation for any other coach.
As more news on 3news.com. Make some time and visit 3news.com. This is Ghana Tonight. Coming up next, President Akufo-Addo says he's committed to the fight against galamsey and challenges former President John Mahama to state his position on the matter of illegal mining. And this comes on the back of the demands and the calls by many to have the president speak on it. In fact, the president had been silent on this matter until today. He's made a statement, but that statement is directed rather at the former president, the flag bearer of the NDC, demanding that he states his position on this matter because, according to the president, he has had to pay the political price of this commitment to the fight against illegal mining in the past, but not presently. Take a look.
Somebody who wants to be president, he can't change his mouth. One side of his mouth is saying one thing, the other side of his mouth is saying another thing. It is not good for him. In the 2020 elections, after the government had acted on the galamsey, he went around all the mining districts of Ghana to tell them that when he comes, he's going to give amnesty to anybody who has been attacked on the galamsey issue by my government. So it's not surprising that MPP lost in all those constituencies. That when he comes, he will now enforce the galamsey laws. We want the NDC, 4-time NDC presidential candidate, to come clean, to tell us where does he stand. This is what I meant when I said that I was prepared to put my presidency on the line. I was prepared to take the political risk in dealing with them galamsey.
Well, that's President Akufo-Addo there, indicating, that statement he had made earlier and referencing that as the political cost that he had to pay. In fact, there are many who have also contested that position about the MPP losing all the seats in the mining areas, because when you look at the results in the 2020 elections, also raises fundamental concerns about whether that is actually what happened. But one person who has been demanding that the president does more in the fight against corruption and also illegal mining, and also giving the verdict of the president on this fight against illegal mining as a failed one, is none other than a founder of the MPP and also a former military senior officer for that matter. Dr. Nyaho Tamaklo is joining us on the telephone. We had a little hitch with the Zoom connection, but he's joining us on the telephone now. Dr. Nyaho Tamaklo, good evening. Thank you for joining us here on Ghana Tonight.
Yeah, good evening.
First of all, you've heard the president.
Let me make one or two corrections. I am not a founder of the party. I am a founding member of the party. That's point number one. Point number two, I am not a senior officer of the party, of the military. I was a junior officer of the military, even though I was a doctor.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for that also bringing in them, but also a founding member of the MPP.
That's right.
That's pretty clear, as I state. But first off, you heard the president make that assertion about what happened in the 2020 elections and the fact that he had to pay the political cost because of his commitment to fight illegal mining, and throwing the charge to the flag bearer of the NDC for that matter. You have given a verdict to his fight against illegal mining as a failed one. He doesn't seem to agree with you, at least based on what he said today.
Well, I'm not surprised at all at the president's statement today. I'm not surprised because this is very typical of Akufo-Addo. Akufo-Addo does no wrong. What he knows is to shift blame instead of doing the needful. Now, if you listen to him carefully, as usual, he's trying to solve himself instead of going straight to how to fix the problem. History will surely absolve him and his bad deeds. Now, I think I've said in your program before that this particular operation is not a political operation. It must be an operation that will be handled entirely by the military. And it is an operation that just a company cannot handle it. It must be an operation that will be handled by a whole battalion to be able to have a very successful operation. You need a whole battalion for that. Because just a component is just about, roughly about less than even 200 at times soldiers. They cannot handle such an operation. So to me, the entire operation should be left in hands of the military. They should be given clear objectives and targets, and the rest should be left in hands of their commanders. And I can assure you, if that is done, within a week, you'll see a change. Because where we have an instance where the military have been there 4 days and they left, we all see what has happened. So it's just a waste of money and time. That is another point you didn't forget. Now, the operation to entirely be free from directions or directives of politicians. The issue facing us now is a national problem. It is not partisan in any form. It must be tackled as such. In medicine, when you have what we call hemorrhage, that is blood flowing, what a doctor will do first is to find or identify the source of the bleeding. And you put that, you fix that first. After fixing that, you see that you find your way through the operation. It is the same in handling this problem. We should find the source of the problem. And the source of the problem is so clear. It's surface mining. So a halt should be made to all surface mining as soon as possible. And that is where we have to declare a state of emergency on all surface mining, river bodies, and forest. License or no license. So far, this is what I was saying.
I see, but that call for a state of emergency, at least from what we see now, has not been considered by the presidency, because that's one that the TUs, in fact, the organized labor made, or UTAG also made that demand. But as we speak, there hasn't been any indication that that will be granted.
Yeah, the answer is very simple. It's because they are involved in the mining. They are involved. The report of Professor Boatin says that clearly. He didn't mention the names of those of them are involved. If the president wants us to believe him, he should come and he should have the report published as soon as possible so that we all see they are involved. Now, when you are involved in a situation and somebody is trying to arrest you, definitely you kick against it. That is what we are saying. They are involved. Those heavy caterpillars are not for those boys around, those poor boys. The caterpillars were bought or have been bought by people with money in their pockets. And these are those really running affairs of the state. That's why we call for a complete emergency, state of emergency for surface mining. Let me underline that. In river bodies and all forests in the area of mining. As I said, license or no license. If you are able to stable that, then you know what to do next. This, I'm sure, will be the way the military will tackle it.
Talk with Dr. Tamaklo, and I want you to stay with me because you made reference to an issue about what is happening now with the re-engagement of the military in this new phase of the fight against illegal mining. Well, the Birim River is one of the first places the renewed Operation Halt 2 started the operations. They bent a number of chamfans, 13 of them, and see some 10 water pumps. We're learning today that this Birim River, after that operation, 4 days afterwards, the miners are back. And we're going to put on the screen what the military did. That was sometime last week when this renewed Operation Halt 2 clamped down on illegal mining started. Let's look at what they did first off on the Birim River. Yes, they went there, bent a number of these chamfans and that's water pump machines as we saw. And that's what is on the screen right now. This was part of the operation last week and destroyed a number of these equipments that the illegal miners use. Well, I would have thought that after this, it would have deterred the miners. But from what we are seeing now, today, based on some videos that Adam Srem, a celebrated videographer, made available to us here on TV3, he shows quite clearly through a drone video footage of what's happening on the Birim River that the miners are back. Let's put that on the screen right now. 4 days after the military left the Birim River, these illegal miners are back to work. Let's see that. That's what's happening right now.
I am not surprised at all about what we are saying now. That's why I said this is not a work of a company. A company, just a company of a battalion. You need a whole battalion. Indeed, we have about 6 battalions of infantry in this country. If we really need to correct things, if even 4 of them to be dispatched to that place, let them dispatch them there. Because you have to close all avenues of escape. And if you're able to do that, you can pursue the individuals that are causing problems to our river bodies. If we have a whole battalion is not working, send that in. We have space. Even if we send 4 or even 3 there, definitely this will come to an end. Because if a battalion goes there and leaves about 100 soldiers or 50 soldiers, the moment they leave there, that will be the end. The miners will come back. That definitely is one thing we should have what do you call it, expected from the miners. Because if they realize that the soldiers are no longer there, they will come back. You have to leave quite a number of soldiers to guard the place. And if you keep on doing that for a while, that will definitely keep them at distance. And they might not even return at all.
Dr. Nyaho Tamaklo, thank you for your assessment of the situation and also the recommendations you make thereof. Thank you so much for joining us.
It's a pleasure. Thank you, too.
As always. Dr. Nyahonya Hotamaklo, the founding member of the MPP, also served in the military now. And just for the benefit of getting a clear idea of what's happening on the Birim River right now, let's put the latest, as was provided by Adam Shrem, what's happening on the Birim River now, 4 days after the military left that area, the clampdown on illegal miners. Well, they are back. They're back. They're back to destroying and polluting the Birim River. You see some of the chamfans that were destroyed by the military some few days ago. Well, guess what? The movements you see there are these illegal miners who are back to that galamsey site on the Birim River. They're back working briskly. Recall government deployed this over 100 armed military personnel to various water bodies in its attempt to rid Ghana's water bodies of illegal mining activities. Well, the situation now is that when the military leaves, the miners return. And that is what Dr. Nyahonya Hotamaklo says. It is not a good approach. It cannot work. It would not make any significant impact in the fight against illegal mining in this country. And these drone shots you see there by Adam Shrem clearly captures the limitations in this renewed approach to fight illegal mining in this country. That's the Birim River right now. This is Ghana Tonight. Coming up next, here on the Election Command Center, the new patriotic party, the majority in Parliament, is at the Supreme Court seeking an interpretation to Article 97(1)(d) and also to restrain the Speaker from declaring vacant the seats of members of Parliament who have filed to contest as independent candidates, and an independent candidate seeking to contest on the ticket of the NPP. That's a former member of Parliament. There was a lot that happened in Parliament today, and this is your Election Command Center. No, two sides of Parliament earlier today thrown into spirited arguments for and against that motion filed by the Member of Parliament for the Tamale South constituency, Haruna Idrisu, the former minority leader, contesting that point that there are 4 members of Parliament, sitting MPs, who cannot continue to hold themselves as MPs based on the precedence of what's happened in the House in the case of the former Member of Parliament and that decision taken by the former Speaker of Parliament, Right Honourable, that's Aaron Michael Quay. Now, this debate got a number of the lawyers who are MPs throwing back and forth. We're going to get into why the majority leader, Alexander Penyomakin, has headed to the Supreme Court seeking interpretation of Article 97. But this is what happened in Parliament earlier today.
Of the standing orders of this House on a matter of public importance. The Speaker, it has come to our notice that the Honourable Peter Kwache Aka, the current NDC member for Amenfi Central in the Western Region, has filed with the Electoral Commission to contest as an independent candidate. The Honourable Amuakun Esiama, the current independent member for Fomina constituency in the Ashanti region, has filed with the Electoral Commission to contest also as an NPP candidate. The Honourable Cynthia Mamle Morrison, the current member of Parliament for Agona West constituency in the Central region, has filed with the Electoral Commission to contest as an independent candidate. So, Speaker, the Honourable Kojo Asante, the current NPP member for Suhum constituency in the Eastern region, has also filed with the Electoral Commission to contest as an independent candidate. So, Speaker, a similar matter involving Honourable Andrew Amuakun Esiama was referred to this House by the New Patriotic Party, the NPP, in November 2020. The NPP argued that by his decision to contest as an independent candidate whilst he was a sitting NPP member of Parliament, the Honourable Esiama had vacated his seat in accordance with Article 97(1)(g) of the Constitution. The then Speaker of Parliament, Right Honorable Michael Quay, upheld the NPP's position and took an action to enforce Article 97(1)(g) of the Constitution and ruled that the NPP Member of Parliament for Fomina Den had vacated his seat by his decision and conduct and hence ceased to be a sitting Member of Parliament. Mr. Speaker, this ruling was not contested and has still not been contested and remain good and valid as a rule of this House. Right Honorable Speaker, we therefore call on you to enforce the existing ruling of this House based on Article 97(1)(g) and (h). That decision, Mr. Speaker, applies to all 4 ex-members of Parliament, namely Honorable Peter Kwachiaka, Honorable Andrew Amoako Esiama, Honorable Cynthia Mamle Morrison, and Honorable Kodo Asante. Mr. Speaker, on the basis of this fact, these persons, namely Honorable Peter Kwachiaka, Andrew Amoako Esiama, Honorable Cynthia Mamle Morrison, and Honorable Kodo Asante, are deemed to have vacated their seats accordingly. Right Honorable Speaker, this means that currently we do not have an independent Member of Parliament.
Well, that's the Minority Leader, Dr. Kesla Tufo Singh there. But there are a number of issues at play in this matter, and we've been looking at it quite closely. Dennis Barberi Wadam, Esquire, is joining me in studios. Good to have you as always. Now,
it's a pleasure to be here, Alfred.
With this demand and what is happening in
Parliament
I
mentioned yesterday that when Parliament resumes, we are going to run into yet another long legal tussle. And it started on the floor of Parliament today. I mean, it was more of the lawyers having a debate on the floor of Parliament. And at a point, the Majority Leader had to point out to Kesla Tufo Singh, Dr. Kesla Tufo Singh, that this is a conversation for lawyers. So we should keep quiet and listen to them. That was just on a lighter note. Indeed. But these are the MPs that are on the table for the reason for which we are having this discussion. As rightly listed by the Right Honourable Member for Minority Leader, Kojo Asante, the MP for Suhum, Cynthia Mamle Morrison, MP for Agona West. We have the Honourable Andrew Esiama Amoako, who is the MP for Fomina, very famous. And then Peter Yao Kwachiaka, the MP for Amenfi Central. This is an NDC MP who wants to contest as an independent candidate. But what set the ground for the discussion was that statement that was made by the Minority Leader, bringing to the attention of the House these MPs and what they intend to do. He makes reference to a precedent that has been set in the House, and to that extent says that it invariably means that they were going to leave Parliament today with the NDC now being the majority in the House and the MPP being the minority, if that precedent was to be adhered to. But of course, it didn't end there, and the majority side did not take kindly to that line of argument. First was the Majority Leader, who, in fact, started off by saying that the facts in issue are different. That is to say, the precedent that the NDC MPs sought to rely on, i.e., that had to do with the Professor Mike Okwe's ruling on the Fomina MP back then, was different from the facts before the House today. In that particular instance, as applied to in the Fomina MP's case, a petition from the party was made to Parliament to notify Parliament that this person who has served notice to go independent is no longer a member of our party. That's right. And to that extent, invoke Article 97 and declare the seat vacant. The Majority Leader argued that in this particular instance, they did not have any petition before the House to that effect. For that reason, the facts were different. He went ahead to notify the House that he had already gone ahead to file a suit at the Supreme Court seeking an interpretation to Article 97 and also to restrain the House from declaring the seat vacant. He also raised some procedural issues as to how they ought to have come before the House, arguing that the manner in which the Minority Leader came before the House, it's not known to Parliament. It ought to have used a different approach altogether. He also raises the issue of natural justice to say that even if indeed these members of Parliament in question were said to have been in violation of the said article, they ought to be heard. And to that extent, if they were not even in the House in the first place, to what extent would they declare their seats vacant in their absence? So essentially, those were the issues that were raised by the majority leader. Then came the Member of Parliament for Bolgatanga East, the former Deputy Attorney General, Dominic Ayine. For him, he explained the implications of Article 97, and further, he holds the view that the petition that the majority leader was talking about, that is to say that the parties in question ought to have sent a petition to Parliament to notify Parliament that the members are no longer part of their parties, and to that extent, that their seats should be declared vacant. He thought it wasn't necessary because the Article 97 in itself was very categorical, the circumstances under which an MP would vacate his or her seat. They also make references to that Michael Kwe ruling, which we looked at yesterday. So like I said, it was a conversation amongst lawyers. Indeed. This is a former Attorney General. Jogate, yes. So for him too, he also raises the same issue about the procedure. He makes the case that procedure is just as important as the substantive matter. And to the extent that he didn't think that the minority came with the right procedure. Even beyond that, he also makes the case that even though there is a precedent in the House, it is quite different from what operates in the courts, where the lower courts are bound by the decision of the higher courts. He says that in Parliament, the rules allow that even when there's a decision, the Speaker has that liberty to depart from that and not necessarily be bound by what the predecessor had said. So largely, these were some of the arguments that were canvassed in the House, but ultimately, the Speaker said something very interesting before asking for more time to make a reasoned ruling. And if you've been paying attention to Speaker Alban Bagbin, each time a contentious issue comes before him, he asks for time to give what he says usually is a reasoned ruling.
So this time he's asking for 48 hours?
Yes, 48, 2 days, and he'll be back with that reasoned ruling. But before he said that, let's listen to exactly what he said.
Honorable members, I have listened to the comments from members after the minority leader submitted before the House a statement under Order 93. Both the statement and the comments have raised quite serious issues of procedure and substantive law. And I think I need time to go through them. Because what I believe is that do unto others as you want others to do unto you. And when you plant evil, you reap evil. And so I want to take a few days to submit a reasoned ruling in this matter. I see that this is not only an urgent matter, but a very serious national issue. And there's good reason why the constitutions after the 1968 Constitution. So please, having gone through all these constitutions and having gone through all these parliaments in the Fourth Republic and having experienced all what you have stated, I think I'll have to do justice to the subject. And so I need to present to you a very well thought out ruling, so that tomorrow I will not either be crucified or hailed, but the right thing would have been done.
This is the right thing would have been done.
Yes, so do unto others what you want done to you, and that if you sow evil, you reap evil. As to what that means, we wait to hear from the Speaker when he makes that reasoned ruling. But there was also another issue that came up. I mean, the argument of Atache was very interesting. he started off by saying that, you know, because the minority leader ended his statement by saying that the NDC was now in the majority and the MPP in the minority. And Atacha says that if the NDC wants to be in the majority, there's only one way to do that, and that is to prepare and go for the December 7 polls. But he does not understand why they want to use the speaker to get into the majority.
So the speaker should not fall to the temptation.
Should not fall to the temptation. And that's he also made another coded language.
A biblical reflection,
yes,
of that, in a way.
So largely that has been it. But just to say that Professor Mike Eronoko has been speaking on this particular matter because it is his ruling that has become the subject of contention now as being the president. He was asked the question as to whether, I mean, indeed, if that's, he still stands by what he had said then, and if the action of the minority group is right. He says that because the action does not inure to the benefit, I mean, because the action now we are dealing with is not detrimental to the minority, it cannot be, it does not lie with them to make that move.
So essentially, going back to that point about...
Because in his case, it was the MPP that petitioned that remove our own member.
But you know why the MPP...
So he says that because the three members are not members of the NDC, it does not lie with them to make that move to remove them.
But now it raises another question as well.
So the coming days are going to be interesting because there are already questions as to whether there are issues about injunction, whether Parliament in itself will be restrained from even making this move again. There's also the question of even if the court itself would want to get into that space, especially so that arguments have been made that Parliament is the master of its own rules and all that. So the coming days is going to be very interesting.
It is all of these that is at play that we bring in constitutional lawyer, private legal practitioner, Justice Abdullahi. Justice Abdullahi, appreciate your time. Thank you very much for joining us here on Ghana Tonight. With all the issues as referenced by Dennis and the different sides as to now Parliament having to banter with the courts and whether the speaker can be restrained from going on this path, and then also the interpretation and true and proper interpretation of Article 97(1)(g) as the majority leader is at the Supreme Court seeking. Would all of this, as it plays out, truncate that process of having these four persons as members of Parliament expelled from the House?
My understanding of the events that unfolded today is that on the basis of a writ allegedly filed by the majority leader seeking to, as it were, injunct Parliament from proceeding with the hearing of the application or the motion to remove the four members of Parliament, or the petition to remove the four members of Parliament, should be put on hold, more or less. I think for most constitutional law students, this would clearly be a complete surprise if the Speaker actually holds onto his horses simply on the basis of the writ that has been filed at the Supreme Court. And I think, once again, that is Constitutional Law 101 would tell you that the courts have no business in Parliament. The courts, parliamentary business are closed door and closed books, as we call it, and to the courts. And so at this moment, I mean, it's difficult to comment on whatever rate has been filed and then also project into what may possibly come up. But without any shred of imagination or doubt, I do not think that it would go far based on the time-tested, acceptable principles of constitutional law regarding these areas.
Of course, we can understand that there is politics into these. I mean, there is politics, and then there's the law aspect of it. But I do not foresee the possibility of the Speaker simply throwing him in the towel and saying that he would want to wait for the Supreme Court to make a determination of whatever has been brought before it. I don't foresee that happening. I see the Speaker simply ignoring or throwing away the intervention of the majority and proceeding to hear the motion. As to whether the motion would go in favor, the motion itself would be decided in favor of the majority or the minority. It's a different issue that completely cannot be influenced by this intervention that has been made by the majority leader. And without any shred of doubt, I do not think that the suit filed at the Supreme Court should or can or ought to even prevent the continuous progress of the petition in Parliament.
We'll see how the coming days will look like. Justice Abdullahi, appreciate your time. Thank you very much for joining us here on Ghana Tonight. And the 48 hours started counting already. And there's a clear reason why the NPP would not write this time around to the Speaker to have these 3 sitting NPP MPs expelled. It's about the numbers. This 8th Parliament, 137, 138, technically, they'll be shooting themselves in the foot if they decide to do that. But this is one to watch. Coming up next, we assess the ongoing online exhibition here on your Election Command Center of the Provisional Voters Register, and also get updates from the Inter-Party Advisory Committee meeting held today on the same matter. And in fact, when you see the reactions from the many of you who have attempted using this online platform, we'll get into it and show you the process as well as what happened at the IPAC meeting earlier today. Stay with us.
One bucket of Flamingo paint is equal to several buckets of any other paint brand on the market. Flamingo paint, superior durability, superior hiding, superior coverage. Flamingo paint, simply superior. You know, one bucket of Flamingo paint is equal to several buckets of any other paint brand on the market. Flamingo paint, superior durability, superior hiding, superior coverage. Flamingo paint, simply
fellow countrymen and women, the desperate NPP, realizing that they are losing the 2024 elections, has once again resorted to lies to smear the nation builder, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. The NPP's claim that Mahama was against free SHS and will cancel it when elected is nothing but a barefaced lie calculated to deceive you. John Mahama started the implementation of the progressively free SHS program in 2015 with day students and had a clear plan to expand the program to cover borders, hence cannot be said to be against free SHS. What he has been against is the poor implementation of the program. Contrary to the lies of the NPP, the next NDC Mahama government will improve the implementation of the free SHS program to make it better. We will do this by scrapping the double-track system, provide a dedicated source of funding for the program, include private SHS, improve the feeding of our children, and enhance the quality of learning outcomes. Listen to the truth from the horse's own mouth.
Free senior high school education has come to stay. If anybody tells you that I, John Dramani Mahama, son of E.A. Mahama, will abolish free SHS when I come, tell the person he's a bloody liar. What I'm against is the poor implementation of the free SHS, which is creating great inconvenience for the parents, for the students, and for the teachers.
And one of the things we'll do when we come back into office, and I know inshallah we're coming back into office, is to complete the 200 community day schools that we began, so that we can bring a quick end to the double-track system.
Beware of the NPP's lies. Vote for change. Vote for John Mahama and the NDC. This October to December, King's Furniture says thank you Ghana. Enjoy a whopping 25% off on all our domestic kitchen, wardrobes and sofas. Upgrade your home with the finest furniture crafted right here in Ghana. And for your office, we're offering 20% discount on all office furniture because your workspace deserves the best. Whether it's for home or office, now's the time to make your space truly yours and give the gift of comfort and style to your loved ones. Hooray! Promo is from October 1st and ends December 31st, 2024. Visit King's Furniture Showroom today and enjoy these incredible discounts. Locate us in Accra, Kisima, adjacent Melco and Takrade, Tanokrum, Pipeline, right opposite Connect FM, or call us on 050-150-5507 Accra and 050-133-2327. King's Furniture sets a standard. And a big thank you to Ghana.
While the boys get front row seats to an exciting Premier League game, the girls are next door, catching up on a scenic getaway to the Australian outback. Watching together is always better. That's why DSTV Stream has content for the whole family to enjoy. Families that watch together, bond together.
Luckiest star 712 hash. Luck is everywhere.
8K. Hey, you get an 8K. Get a packing from your Wallahi. Hey, wait. You go put it on his tab. This is my man. Good luck. Hey, Bill radio. We are star 712. I'm on dialing the magic numbers. Star 712. Now welcome to the luckiest. And now with me at home ticket. You can buy for yourself or your loved one. Mommy, tell mommy who's here.
You're buying for me, right?
Or who else?
Oh.
Let me choose buy tickets for adults.
Love you, boo boo.
No, maybe straight to option 4. Now we try. You need to buy tickets worth 50 Ghana to qualify. Yes, you can buy random or preferred tickets. I'm choosing random tickets. Listen, if you buy the random ticket, the system chooses a random number for you. But if you buy the preferred, you get to input your own preferred 5 digits. 5. Baby, give me your 5 numbers. And how much are we buying?
Babe, look at the body and buy you.
With your body,
Hey,
there, tread cautiously. Now follow the prompts. Now the luckiest.
The luckiest is regulated by the NLA on the Caritas platform, not for persons below 18 years. T&Cs apply.
I see. Monsieur Namidi 200 Ghana Kuja, sister. Buy you 5 cities. And 40 Ghana. Hey, take one container 40 to 50 pesos. And not 20 Ghana. And a dancing. Olonka do 30 Ghana. Adai, on my bay money away.
What was our casa? Me show din. Sha, Dokura me di 20 Ghana. Me pay kwa me 15 Ghana cedi a day. On my bay woman, ya call ya nati yesabai.
Sha, and yet Diane Bonkuan and Kosuru. John Dramani Mahama time. Submit 1 bag. Near 24 Ghana cedis. Min Konkoto submit 1 bagger. You see, 108 cedis. I don't know what you're saying. It is to say, who sit down here? Say, and I'll be say, John Dramani Mahama Gia. You be wo.
Ya be bia fa ho akom be kuyen yo.
Akom ne de enkuyen. You be fire ho adwen pa. Na MPP aban. Wa die hwemo ankasa.
Me de menim wo haw. Na me de mehwe masetirem na mato abapa.
Ene sa na tie de a. Eye akufu ado ne ni ba wo mi a. Nyame ya dom ne se December 7. Dura. You be true, Master said the YouTuber. You be true, Ankasa.
Shawa sit ne mutu abapa. E de sakraya papa beba wa brabo mu. To abama John Mahama ne NDC.
Welcome back to Ghana Tonight. The Electoral Commission is set to release certified copies of the voters' album to all political parties in the first week of November. That's according to the chair, Jane Adokwe-Mensah, earlier at the IPAC meeting today. Take a look.
The re-exhibition of the Provisional Voters Register has never happened before. Indeed, this is the first time. And it demonstrates that this commission is a listening one It is a commission that is open to receive feedback for the betterment of its stakeholders. And we would like to thank the NDC for, this idea of re-exhibiting the voters register. It also demonstrates that we are a transparent commission and that we work with our stakeholders. We are confident with this approach, and we believe that we will have a near perfect final voters register ahead of the 2024 December elections.
A near-perfect voters register. That's the assurance that Jane Adokwe-Mensah, the chair of the Electoral Commission, is giving. A number of things that she put out there as well, including the fact that they, quote, are confident that the revised provisional voters register that the Electoral Commission will present starting today is a marked departure from the register they presented during the exhibition exercise, because they have corrected all the errors that the NDC pointed out. Dr. Rashid Tanko Computer is the Deputy Director of IT and Elections for the NDC. Some commendation to you, Dr. Tanko, the NDC, for pointing out a number of things and also asking for the re-exhibition of this provisional voters register, which is the first in our history, as acknowledged by the EC chair. But that statement that all your errors have been corrected, the errors you identified have been corrected, is it one that ticks the box for you?
Alfred, let me say good evening to your cherished viewers and to you yourself. The reality is that we are here to study the PVR given to us today. We received the PVR today at the IPAC meeting, at the close of the meeting that they gave us the PVR. For now, we are only giving them the benefit of the doubt. But you saw what happened at the meeting. We didn't take kindly to some of the things that went on at the IPAC meeting, and chiefly among them is the discrepancies of the valid voters in the register as given by their IT consultant. I took time to quiz him about the three different figures as they chain out, and he tried to say because they are provisional figures. But I don't think in provisional figures you should have different figures. At least you should have one provisional figure, so that we'll be working on that provisional figure to arrive at a final figure. But you cannot be given several different figures for us to work with. And that was what I took issues with them at the IPAC meeting today. And then also, we're also very much mindful about the issue of the transfer badge. If you look at the transfer badge he presented today, based on what he told us at the last IPAC meeting, the 332,107 transfer badge, which he sought to explain that it was meant for people who were involved in multiple transfers, and that because of that, they have managed to pone it down to 311,344. So there was a difference of 20,763. And we asked that we needed to have a data of that, because this is a quantum of number that cannot be glossed over. We need to get the data of this 20,000 to appraise ourselves with what actually led to this multiple transfer he was referring to, because you can't just change a figure without backing it with the data. And so we needed to get a data on that. So these are issues that we want to the Electoral Commission to come clean with.
And is there any other opportunity for you to have those answers to these questions you're asking again before election day?
Yeah, of course. The exhibition will end on the 19th. And I am happy as a political party, the NDC, we are so happy that Ghanaians will appreciate that the NDC is the one which is guiding our democracy. And she was magnanimous in that by saying that they have to thank the NDC for bringing this idea, the idea of re-exhibition and order. It was through the ingenuity of the NDC. Even this live broadcast and order is through NDC. We have brought these processes all this along. Otherwise, if we hadn't used our eagle eye, your guess would have been good as mine. You realize that it is the NDC that should take this credit. And that's why I was telling our colleague at IPAC that they should stop thanking the Electoral Commission, but rather thank the NDC, because the Electoral Commission themselves were rather thanking the NDC Right. Whilst our opponents were rather praising them, they didn't know that the praises rather should have been given to the NDC for having brought us to all this level and making sure that they do the right thing and clean the register, and then so we can have a credible register that can stand the test of time. I mean, we are not going to relent on our effort in that. We will continue the path of making sure that the right thing is done. Even the online thing, we've identified some small problems, and we told them they tried and did their own way of rationalizing things, but they themselves realized that yes, the NDC people, we meant business. Well, we are talking about issues on that nature.
Dr. Rashid Tanko Computer, I thank you very much for joining us here on Ghana Tonight. And this online re-exhibition is one that is going to be consistent on our radar here on your election command center, because as you indicated, the revised provisional voters register statistics the Electoral Commission put out today, total number of valid voters over 18.7 million. Female voters make up more, 9.689 million. And males, 9,082,264. First-time voters, 708,280. The special voters is what Dr. Rashid Tanko said they raised issues with, 131,476. Total number of transfers, 332,107. Transfer voter list. You see the proxy voters as well. And the multiple list, those who have their names on the multiple list, 26,790. And the missing voters, individuals whose details need to be verified, 1,273 as we have it there. But a number of you have reached us indicating you want to know the process of using the short code to verify the information on your voters' ID within the voters register. This is how the process looks like. Emmanuel Samani takes us through.
So the Electoral Commission announced for the general public the commencement of its re-exhibition of the Provisional Voters Register today. And so we're trying out the USSD code to see how seamless it works. And so you go onto your phone, dial *711 *51 hash. You hit the prompts. Loads of one, it says, "Welcome to the Mobile Voter Register Exhibition Service." You then proceed to dial in your 10-digit voter ID number, as we're doing right now. And then we got a message that the details has been sent to us via text. And indeed, we did receive a text message from the Electoral Commission with the name, age at registration, gender, what the polling station is, the constituency, and the region. And it goes on to say to report any errors to our district electoral officer. So there you have it. It seems that the short code from the EC actually works quite seamlessly.
That's the demonstration video. It's going to be available on TV3 Ghana on Facebook and also on 3news.com. So make some time and get that education as well. The online one, just for those who have internet access. The USSD for those who do not have internet access. There's also another challenge of the mobile network connectivity in some of the hard-to-reach communities. That's the next phase of the conversation on this PVR online re-exhibition. I want to say thank you so much for joining us here on Ghana Tonight. Join us same time tomorrow for another conversation. My name is Alfred Okanse. Have a good night.
Ghana Tonight is brought to you by
Flamingo Paint. Superior durability, superior hiding, superior coverage, simply superior.